value from success, growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. Welcome back to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Jordan, the federal government did their fiscal update. Was there anything in there that caught your eye that would be helpful for construction and independent contractors?
Well, there was. One of the things that they're bringing back is a $5,000 grant towards energy retrofits, energy renovations for homes. Obviously, that's going to help a lot of air conditioning companies, heat pump companies, window insulation company, windows and insulation companies. So, kind of the smaller end contractors will find some help for that. Devil's in the details. We're still waiting to see exactly how this program is going to work. But anytime you inject that kind of credit into the economy, it usually has a positive effect on the industry. So that was the good news. The bad news, Jim, of course, is record federal deficit, $381 billion. A debt, federal debt now that is very close to $1 trillion. If you actually go to debtclock.ca, my old friends at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation have a real-time debt calculator. It's closing in. They had to add a $1 trillion slot. It's never happened before in Canadian history. They're about to hit that. Basically adding $1 billion worth of debt a day. That is a shocking, terrifying amount, and we need to remember at some point all these bills come due, and of course it's our kids and grandkids who'll have to foot them.
One of their explanations was that, interest rates are at record low levels, so this is cheap money. What if those interest rates change?
Well, exactly. What if the interest rates go up? And, okay, even if it's cheap money, it's still $1 trillion of borrowing, right? Like at some point you say, well, okay, the money may be cheap, but you still have to pay back the principal at some point. So this is problematic from a number of things. One of the weird stats that came out, and probably didn't get the kind of coverage it deserves because the numbers are so eye-watering, the government distributed $56 billion in income replacement during these first 7 months of COVID. So $56 billion from government to people, which sounds good, except that it was covering $23 billion in lost income, which means they actually paid out 2.5 times more than actually was lost by Canadians in income. Now, of course, that's not across the board. Some people, the money was a fraction of what they lost, and other people it was several times what they lost. But, 2.5 times, I understand the need for speed in getting these payments out and wanting to keep the economy going. I think all of us understood that, and we expected there to be some cost to that, maybe 15-20% more. 2.5 times more, Jim? That is a shocking number, and it shows just how few checks and balances there have been in this process.
I know the government has said if you didn't deserve it, they'll claw it back at tax time. But I recall a few years ago, there was something like $55 billion in outstanding taxes they hadn't collected. How efficient are they going to be going after the extra $20 or $30 billion overpayment?
It's a great question. What is their plan for it? It'd be one thing, you're right, if they came out and said, well, we're going to get it back through this. But their own budget projections don't show a huge jump in income tax. So, how is that money going to be clawed back? How are you going to investigate, willful cheaters? It's hard, right? You want to err on the side of caution because so many folks have been hurting during this. But at the same time, when you get to 2.5 times the actual lost wages, there has got to be some abuse in that system that you've got to hunt down and find. But this is a government that refused all checks and balances in this, that the public service would recommend certain things and they would just kind of turn a blind eye to and instead rush these programs out. It really does make you wonder if, like, Ken Busenkool, longtime conservative strategist, made a big pitch for basically a minimum income during this period. You do wonder if that would have been cheaper now than the alternative, which is this ad hoc application thing that has resulted in a huge cost overrun.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, have the increased measures against COVID-19 affected the construction industry, or is it still pretty well full speed ahead?
Well, definitely construction has taken a second look at what they're doing. And this is not surprising. Dr. Henry asked every employer to stop, look, and take and really make sure that your precautions are being followed. Construction did that. The signage has been reviewed, the COVID safety plans have been reviewed, sign-ins have been reinforced, masking up now. We had a couple of companies call us and, they would ask perfectly reasonable questions like, hey, we're drywalling and inside, but, no windows or doors are in. Is that indoors or outdoors? Our advice has always been just err on the side that it's indoors, wear your masks, better safe than sorry. And that's kind of what construction's done. I've just pulled up the WorkSafe BC data today. There's only been one claim attributed to construction. Everything, there's been 28 in agriculture, there's been 420 in healthcare and social services, there's hundreds more in the queue to be processed. Still only one claim of COVID has been attributed to construction, which tells you the construction industry has been operating safely for months now. They've been very careful about following safety procedures, and it makes sense. Construction is the kind of industry where safety is paramount. Everyone wears a hard hat. Everyone wears gloves. Everyone has eye protection. They wear steel-toed boots. We're used to having procedures and protocols for safety, so adding a few more in for COVID has been relatively easy for our construction companies and our workers. And, the industry, it's down 10, 15% maybe as far as productivity and number of people working, but still by and large is continuing on. And thank goodness it is, because our economy needs more industries like construction to pull their weight at a time where tourism and tech and whatnot are really struggling.
I know you're very concerned about order pages for next year and the year after that, because construction's always something that's planned well in advance. How is that going?
It varies radically from company to company. Some companies are saying, hey, we're looking good, full steam ahead. Other companies are starting to struggle to put together order books for the latter half of 2021. Owners are being very careful about what they invest in right now because they perceive that there isn't going to be a lot of money to be had. So that is all. It's a fluid situation, and again, it really does depend on the company involved. We expect if construction this year fell 10 to 15%, we probably expect another 5% or so reduction next year. Hoping that's not true. But that's sort of what we've suggested our contractors brace for. Government can help get stuff out to tender fast. Municipalities can help get your budget passed, get stuff out to tender quickly. let's make sure we keep people working in this environment.
We've seen an increased demand for single-family homes in the burbs and in rural areas. Is that going to help? Will there be more housing construction than was predicted earlier in the year?
Jury's still out on that. So yes, there's more demand for single-family homes, but there are not municipalities running out rezoning single-family lots. So generally, if there's a lot out there that for a single-family home, it's been built on. There's very few that are being rezoned and subdivided for that purpose. So, if you don't have a lot to build on, you can't build the house. And that's why still there's so much townhouse and condo construction across the Lower Mainland. So that's a little problematic there. Our advice to municipalities, again, is look at what you have in the development hopper, approve it, get those permits going, and let's get people building housing. Affordability is still a huge issue. There's still a demand for all housing products, especially in the Lower Mainland, but across British Columbia. Now is the time to get these approvals going.
Vancouver City Hall is famous for their lack of action when it comes for developing permits and getting projects going. Are they doing anything to expedite stuff at Vancouver City Hall, or is it still as slow as molasses in January?
It is slower than molasses in January, yeah. It is snail's pace, sloth-like. It boggles our mind that Vancouver is so slow to approve housing. Oftentimes it takes longer to get an approval than it does to actually build the thing. That is crazy. And, Kennedy Stewart has no desire to actually change that. In his heart of hearts, I think he's anti-development. And so they just continue to throw out more restrictions, more problems, more issues to slow things down. And, ultimately it's the people of Vancouver who pay for it because, fewer people to share the tax burden. Fewer affordable homes to live in. This is a big problem for that community. But politicians got to start looking in the mirror and saying, listen, if we want to keep the economy going, what can we do to actually facilitate it? It's not just throwing money at the problem. Sometimes it's just getting out of the way and issuing permits in a more timely manner. That can be just as helpful to the economy.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, I know people in the business community are concerned about the future of the BC Liberal Party. Is that a concern for you?
Sure. I mean, you don't like to see a party that had a pretty good plan for helping small businesses take the kind of thrashing they did in that election. The NDP famously not great at managing the economy. Not sure how they'll do at this historic economic recovery that's necessary. And, frankly, politics works better when you have two or three parties, all of whom have legitimate chances of forming governments and who are, sharing ideas and pitching the public and trying to get support for their plans. So, yeah, we're watching the BC Liberal situation carefully right now. There's obviously a leadership race that will happen probably in 2021. And we're calling on candidates to step forward with plans to rebuild the party, rebuild the coalition between federal Liberals and federal Conservatives, and find a way to present ideas that really will, address the issues that British Columbians are facing.
What kind of action do you think the current government has to do that's friendlier to business? Have they helped out tourism and hospitality, which are huge drivers in the BC economy?
Yeah, they got to quit ignoring industries like that. They've got to actually reach out to business leaders, investors, people who have made decisions on where to invest money, because None of these folks MLAs ever have. Very few of them, if any, have ever even run a business. We need them to, consult and get outside their very labor, big union ideology and actually, figure out things that will help attract investment to British Columbia. They need to cut red tape. They need to cut the tax burden. These are target investments that would go a long way towards sparking economic recovery. Right now, they seem very focused on a small set of issues that kind of line up very strongly with their ideology. That is not necessarily, the most important things. Look, they're important things, but they're not. They miss the forest for the trees. You've got to have a strong economy. You've got to have people working. You've got to have families being able to create economic prosperity. Be able to afford homes. You've got to look at all of this, not just look at little cherry-picked things in isolation.
I know governments like to rely on statistics, but how do you know how many people actually need help and where it is? And shouldn't you be talking to certain industries continually to find out where they need a little boost to stay alive until the economy picks up again?
Yeah, absolutely you should. You should be working with people from all over British Columbia. There's another problem for this government is they, I think, only have 3 rural MLAs. They need to work with the energy sector, which I know they distrust and they don't like. But, we need oil and gas to come back here in British Columbia to help promote jobs. There's a lot of industries, mining, forestry. These are bread and butter industries still in British Columbia, despite everything we've done on the film industry and on tech. But we still are a resource-driven economy in a lot of ways, and we've got to recognize that and do whatever we can to help those folks get off the mat.
Yeah, so often people are saying we're a high-tech society. I've got my smartphone, I have my computer, my laptop, my iPad, whatever kind of pad you're using. But shouldn't it be pointed out to them there's something like 62 to 82 critical minerals that go into that? And they got to come from somewhere, or you don't have all that high-tech.
Yeah, exactly. Everything starts in the ground sometime. It's the same with kind of being anti-internal combustion, anti-car. Everything gets moved by truck at some point. So you don't have the luxury to be opposed to the trucking industry. You've got to find ways to work with them and help them and make sure our goods and services are being delivered. So these are complicated issues. I worry a little bit. The new Minister of Jobs is Ravi Kahlon. He has basically his background is working for the NDP as a party and working for big labor. I worry that he does not have a lot of business experience. I worry that he hasn't seen a lot of how to create jobs. Hopefully he is open to listening to folks who have, and willing to kind of go beyond his ideological upbringing in order to find out, how do we actually help that small business. Here's a couple of anecdotal things that bother me. So, ICBA, our headquarters, is here at Metro Tower 3, above Metrotown Mall. Black Friday for years has been a terrible day to work at Metrotown because it's crazy. The parkade is crazy. It's always jam-packed. We've told staff before, if you're not here by 9:30 a.m., work from home. There's no point driving around the parking lot for hours trying to find a spot. One year we had a staff member, it took her 65 minutes to get out of the Metrotown parkade because it was so jam-packed. This year, we had people leave at 4:30, which is prime shopping time on Black Friday, and the parkade was half empty. Now, yeah, there was people from transit there, and the mall seemed busy, although most people are out in the hallways waiting instead of inside stores, so it's a bit artificial. But that is a big problem for retailers. And, sure, the mall has a lot of chain stores, but lots of them are franchises owned by people. Lots of little kiosks that are small businesses. They're all struggling. You walk through the downtown of your local neighborhood, shuttered stores, not open. They've gone out of business. Restaurants closed. Nail salons closed. There was a story in the Vancouver Sun. It listed something like 25 businesses in Kitsilano. I mean, Kits, pretty small business-friendly area, somewhere that prides itself on that. 25 empty storefronts. So, government's got to take a step back here and dig into this. Go talk to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Talk to the Independent Contractors Business Association that I work for. Talk to the Retail Council of BC, the Business Council of British Columbia, the Chambers of Commerce, the Boards of Trade, and work with us to find ways to help these small businesses, because they are just reeling, and we're watching more and more of them just flicker out like candles on a cold night. And it's sad. Like, our neighborhoods are being hollowed out. This recession is going to have long-term repercussions, and we have a government who seems just more than willing to kind of ignore that, add more red tape, add some more taxes, throw a bit of money around in, rebates to voters, but not actually dig into the issues that need to be dug into to help small business.
Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. If you have any questions for Jordan or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter at Talk Digital Net. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.